Hello, everyone, and welcome to Animezingly Baka, the amazingly stupid podcast all about anime and movies and TV shows and manga and comics and books and music and so much more. Except video games, of course. I just find it a little funny that I even include music there at the end because I can see myself talking about all those topics, music ever again. I don't know. Even though I do love music, I'm not so much versed in current music culture. And even if I was, would I be talking about it? I don't know. I love singing and performing and listening and all of that. Talking about music, I don't know. I guess the closest I would get to talking about music would be commenting on the current season of OPs for anime, or if I were to go back and focus on a series, the OP in that. For instance, Gachiakuta, still loving that so very, very much. Best OP of the season. The new One Piece OPs and EDs, well, just OP and ED. I'm not so sure, but I feel like that is my feelings every single time they change it. I get used to the current ones, and then I don't like the new ones, but they eventually grow on me, and I end up really liking them. And then when they change them again, I go, oh, I don't know about these new ones. And the cycle repeats. But speaking of anime and seasonals and all that jazz, I want to get the ones that don't really, not that they don't matter, but the ones I have little to talk about out of the way. One Piece, speaking of One Piece, solid episode. You had Boney stopping, or Bonnie. It's Bonnie, not Boney. Boney would be a weird name for your daughter. Bonnie, she is able to stop all of the Kuma robots from Buster calling and attacking the island because the one stipulation Vegapunk put into them is that regardless of who is ordering them, no matter how high on the hierarchy, none of them could overpower? Not exactly the right word I'm looking for. None of them could get over a father's love, essentially. So he still put that into all of them so that if they were to try and harm her, she could stop them. And so she is able to stop them from attacking the island. And then they put their attention back towards the Marines and all that. And then, of course, Luffy digests all his food and returns as Nika the Sun God to step in and stop Kizaru, the one dude from attacking since they can't rely on all the robots anymore. And then it ends with the giant pirates showing up, who they thought were disbanded over 100 years ago, something like that. So they show up, and that is where it ends. Solid episode. Dr. Stone, solid episode. I just pregnant positive because every single time when and maybe it's because it is, I think, the first episode of the shows I watch to release. So it is usually the first episode I watch in the week. And therefore it just is the one that is the most behind in terms of what I've been watching, or it's just I watch everything else after it, so it has the most on top of it. But I'm trying to remember what the hell happened this episode. I guess they were fiddling with the Medusas that they found that are all expired. None of them work anymore. They find a commonality among them, which is that they all have either blackened, used up diamonds in them for the ones that were functional, or the ones that were dysfunctional, malfunctional, that were what is the word I'm looking for? Because it's malfunction, but it's not malfunctional. The ones that were they didn't work. Those had diamonds with some kind of flaw in them, whether it be a crack or wrong shape or something along those lines. There was something wrong with the diamonds in those that didn't work. So that if they could find a diamond that would fit and was unused, or in the case of this episode, manufacture one through the use of alcohol, I believe it is, they'll be able to use these Medusa devices. And I believe that is basically what we had happen, the focus of this episode. Then we have Sakamoto Days, which I enjoyed, but I realized with this episode that the actual story and what's going on and why everything is happening has kind of been lost on me. I I like the show. I enjoy watching it. I like the characters, but why they want to kill Sakamoto, I don't even remember. I don't remember. But it's still a fun show to watch. A lot of good action this episode. That old dude with the sword, crazy ass shit. Crazy ass shit. Super powerful. I most enjoyed the younger guy with the hammer and his reaction to the sword guy showing up, where he goes after him initially, gets some fingers sliced off. Dude loves slicing off fingers. And they clash, another attack, and he destroys, I think, an entire floor of this building. One, also, when all said and done, after the aftermath, not after the after, but the aftermath, how the hell is that building still standing? I don't know. I feel like the amount of damage it took, it should have crumbled to the ground. But I like when it's not scum. It is what is the name that dude has? Who's going after Sakamoto? Who's actually named Uriki or something along those lines. But when he is confronting Sakamoto while he is still dealing with a part and all that, Spur, it's not Spur, Scum, Skur, something along those lines. But when the dude with the hammer shows up and just his overall kind of nonchalant vibe, but he comes in, breaks the wall, and is like, no, I'm not dealing with this. And it's him running away, I guess, from the old dude. And he says to the, I need to find out what his name is because it's not Scum, but I keep wanting to call him Scum. And it's driving me nuts that I want to call him Scum. It's something with an S. It's something with an S. Where are you? Where are you? Slur. That's what it is. Slur. You know what I do a lot of? Slurring my words. But when he shows up, and why don't we get his name while we're at it? There's a character named Dump. Slur and Dump and Poo Poo and Kaka and Pee Pee. They're all Sakamoto Days characters. Not really. But why not? I like this character. And the Takamura is the sword dude, Gaku. I mean, you might as well just name yourself Kaka. But when Gaku shows up, he's just like, no, I'm not dealing with this dude. You didn't tell me. about this crazy old dude. And not Gaku, but the sword dude, old sword man. I'd rather do that than names. He takes out the assassin is Whistler, who is more of a firearm based assassin, except he didn't completely kill them. I thought he did, but it ends with him doing one last basic suicide bombing attack to let Slur and Gaku get away. But Gaku also, before all this happens, charges at the old man, loses one of his arms, gets it cut off. And I love his reaction to that, which is just, no, I don't need that. And he kicks it back at the old dude with significant force. Fun episode. But again, I just don't remember why any of this shit is happening. I like seeing Sakamoto at least fight all out in his big form. And hopefully we never see him get skinny again, because that was one of the things that they were doing a few episodes ago, trying to help him utilize his bigger form fully, that one character. But solid episode. Then the summer that Hikaru died, strong episode. I was surprised looking at the Anilist episode discussion after the fact that a lot of people seem to be surprised with the direction of this episode. I thought it was very clear right away. Just the demeanor of, what is his name? You have Hikaru and not Oshiki or something. Maybe it's Yoshiki? Yoshiki? Is it Yoshiki? Am I right there? Am I actually right? It is Yoshiki. The demeanor of Yoshiki, the whole episode, was very clear to me that he was going to try and end Hikaru, or more, we'll call him Hikaru, of course. We know that Hikaru, the actual Hikaru, is dead. We don't need to keep being like the thing that has possessed Hikaru's body. But it was very clear that that was the direction the episode was going in, that he was going to, at the end of the episode, sometime in the middle of it, he was going to try and end Hikaru's life because of what happened. Not to mention just the compounding emotions and everything that has happened since he died, and he learned that Hikaru had been possessed by this thing that we still don't really know, and he doesn't even really know what he is. But when he caught Hikaru in the act of almost trying to kill one of his friends, that made him realize or believe that there's no saving Hikaru. There's no fixing Hikaru, no turning this creature into a good being, that he is inherently evil and murderous, and he needs to be ended. But he still cares for him because, one, he is inside the body of his best friend, and two, he has grown a certain attachment to this otherworldly being. Because I think, and as a viewer, you can see that it's not that he is doing this with malice, the creature. It is just inherent in his being. It is just the way he is built. And even he doesn't want to be the way he is. He would like to be better, but it is a matter of what is and isn't in his control. We'll see how the story wraps up, because I can't remember if this is an original or if it is an adaptation. And with that, is this going to be a single season story, or is there going to be multiple seasons? I'm not sure about all that. But it's very clear to me that, obviously, looking at the demeanor of Yoshiki, He is going to be doing something drastic, probably trying to kill Hikaru. And what he is doing with the day is trying to give him a nice memory for his last memory. Trying to be happy and enjoying the day with him, even though it's very clear that his mind is that he's distracted. And he's obviously distracted with what his intentions are for the culmination of the day. Obviously, it doesn't work. He stabs him in the heart, where his heart would be, I think. Well, there are some. It seems like he ended up stabbing him a bit lower than where your heart would be. More, I don't know what organ would be there, but maybe just below, if you feel your body, just under your most bottom rib. Like he maybe stabbed him there. And it doesn't kill Hikaru, nor would it immediately kill a human stabbing someone there. If he really wanted to see if he could kill him, he should have shot him in the head. Where he'd get the gun, I don't know, but stabbing someone there isn't an immediate kill. So whether or not Hikaru is killable through those kinds of means, that wasn't going to be the case, but it's all good. And so to try and show a sign of good faith after this happens, Hikaru goes inside his body, cuts himself open down the middle of his chest, goes in there in his weird. Well, it's not weird because he's showing the actual Hikaru body with his skeleton and all that. And rips off, I think, the lower part of his. What do you call this? Where your ribs extend from? I forget what this plate is called, but I think he rips off essentially the very bottom of it and pulls off half of his being himself. And it comes out to be sort of like looking like a little rock, and it's half of himself. And he offers it to Yoshiki as a sign of good faith, but also with that, he is weakened, and it won't be as easy for him to kill people in his newfound state, his halfen state. And that is basically where the episode ends. Really strong episode, some strong visuals there at the end, especially. I guess for other people, if you didn't know what was going on, it probably would have been more affecting. But for me, I knew where it was headed the whole time. And I wonder if it's something where you don't get a lot of stories like this. If you're an anime only consumer, you don't really watch regular TV shows or movies and so on, that or read books, etc., that this might not be something you see a lot in anime. I'm trying to think. But it's just, to me, it was very, very obvious. So I wasn't caught off guard or surprised by it. But I still really enjoyed it. I still wonder, one, if this show will be better for people coming to it later as a bingeable show. And then two, would it be better as a movie when all is said and done, the story they're telling? I don't know, but I'm still enjoying it. Kaiju number 8, I am almost considering dropping. Though this is probably my favorite episode of the season for a very weird reason. I am caught up with, or I finished the season 1 equivalent in the manga. So I'm now going to start reading there where we're at in season 2, which is, I think, the first 38, 39 chapters of the manga equate to the first season. And there are 129 chapters in total. So that would lead me to believe if we're going to get the whole manga adapted, it would be, and I would be surprised if we didn't, because it's a fairly popular show. It'll be wrapped up in the following third season. But I've been very wishy-washy and non-committal about how I feel about this show specifically in terms of its art and animation, but after this episode, no. I just think it looks bad. It's not the most it's not the ugliest show ever. The animation isn't a bunch of slideshows like a lot of the most recent season of Blue Lock, for instance. So it's not awful. It's not terrible, but it is very, very average at best. But even saying it's average, I would have to look at every show in a season, for instance, and say, all right, here are all the high quality. Like, I would have to rank every show and see where it falls in that ranking. But I feel like average probably is where it belongs. I don't think it's sub average, but I don't like the look of it. And there were some shots, especially where I just got to thinking to myself, season one had to be better than this, right? I was so high on season one, and part of that is because after experiencing that story, that part of the story in the manga, I think it is such a great setup, and you get introduced to all these characters, and so many are enjoyable. It's a great setup for where the show currently is, but it just I'm not vibing with it right now. I do think, and I'm curious if the reason why people say to avoid the manga is the direction of the story, and I can see it happening here, though it's not unheard of for an anime to go in a different direction. But I'm getting the feeling because the episode ends with us, they don't end up defeating Kaiju number 9, obviously. He gets away. They do some significant damage. Kaiju number 8, Kafka and the pink haired dude. But there's a part of Kafka, either on his left or I think maybe his right hand, that hasn't transformed back to a human. So now the concern is that he will, if he continues transforming into Kaiju number 8, he will continue, he will gradually be unable to turn back into a human. So he will gradually become more and more kaiju permanently if he continues this. And it gives me a lot of comparisons, but at a much slower pace. And through his actions specifically, District Number 9, where you had, I don't know the name of that character, but in that movie, he gets infected by that liquid, that substance, I think. And that is what causes his transformation. And it's over the course of a day or a very short period of time where he goes from being a human and then his arm is alien. And then eventually he becomes a full on alien in that movie. I'm getting the sense that that is where Kaiju number 8 is going as a story, where Kafka will eventually be unable to return to human form. If that happens, I can see why people are not the biggest fan of that because it's not a happy ending. And if you're someone who likes to have happy endings, that's not going to be a happy ending. But for me, I'm cool with that. Give me a good story. It doesn't always have to have a happy ending because life itself doesn't always have happy endings. But that's sometimes the argument for certain people where they're going to other medias for an escape from reality. And what they don't want is to be reminded of how gloomy and depressing reality is by having a show, something they're watching, and sadly. But the production quality of this season is not, I'm not jiving with it. And we'll see how me catching up in the manga and then passing it makes me feel about the season even more. I haven't have I I guess with the silent voice, I had read that before watching the movie because the movie came out way after I watched or read that, and I did like the book more. I like the manga more, but it's just because that is a case where you get a lot more in the manga because it got adapted into a movie, so it was much shorter. They cut out certain things, but it's still a very solid movie. But I like the manga more. But yeah, Kaiju number 8, I just don't know. Just don't know. Gachiakuta was very fun, very action heavy. I fucking knew Grease was going to get what I thought was killed, but he's still alive. Thank fucking God, because Grease is a great character. Love him. Hopefully he survives. He's not in great shape, but the fact that he's conscious is a good sign. But when it opens and the dude's coming after Rudo, he sees potential in the younger kid who we already know has some potential, but he's also someone who, while he wants to be a giver, he finds value in the supporters and wants to remain a supporter, even if he ends up getting a vital instrument because he respects them as starting there. But Grease, Mr. Fisk, gets, I thought he just got stabbed right through the heart, full on impale right through his body, his whole body. Maybe it missed the vital organs. I guess that's what they are implying since he is conscious and whatnot. So I hope he survives because I really like him. But we learn that Rudo's ability to bring life to any inanimate object and make it a vital instrument, his actual ability or why he's able to do what he does is because of his care and value of what other people look at as trash. So he is able to bring out the worth, the true full worth out of an object because he values everything. Whereas other people are just like, whatever, this is garbage. And so he uses Grease's talisman, which he prayed to before the mission, to fight this current villain. Jabber Wong, I believe his name was. Silly name, but all right. And what he does with the talisman is that he doesn't move from his spot and he uses it gets this giant eye and it allows him to dodge what it may you think he's dodging all these attacks first. But then it is revealed that he's not dodging Jabber's attacks, but he's forcing through this eye that is seeing Jabber to move. So he is control. Jabber thinks he's in control, but actually it is Rudo and this vital instrument that are in control. And so he is just avoiding his attacks at first, but then he gears Jabber into his way so that he can punch him like Grease likes to punch with his fist. He wants to utilize his fist to beat down this guy for harming Grease. Because Grease, we all know, is a fucking good ass dude. This goes on for a while. And then Jabber's like, okay. I realized when I was putting up the smoke screen and was flinging these pieces of debris at you, what this thing does, your current vital instrument, what it is doing is alternating the movement of things with hostile intent. But since that debris was just debris, you weren't able to dodge that in the same way, manipulate it in the same way that is. So he takes his right, I think. Klaus has got these little cloth. He's got fucking scissor hands, basically. Stabs himself with it because it has some kind of poison on it. And that's going to make him go unconscious and just wail about like a mad person. And he is assuming that with that, he won't have hostile intent because he's just going to be going around like crazy. He's not going to be specifically trying to harm Rudo or anyone. He is just going to be out of control, wailing about, causing mayhem. And we'll Rudo's ability be able to work against that? We'll find out next episode. But it's a fun episode and a nice bit of character development for Rudo and him finally realizing his connection with objects and being able to actually use them now. The mental block that was there these past few episodes is gone. Hopefully it doesn't return and it's just gone for good. But yeah, happy to see that Grease did not actually die and Rudo got some development. It's just a fun episode. Dandadan was probably the least exciting this episode of the season so far, but that makes sense. We had an incredible start with those first 4-5 episodes, and we're in that kind of lull time before things ramp up to end the season, and then surely end with another cliffhanger. But it starts off where the last episode left off at the Maid Cafe with Momo working there. Her friends being real poo-poo heads. Just giving her shit left and right. While Okarun is just kind of like, oh my god, this is embarrassing. But also, I kind of like it. Kind of like it. They eventually leave, and Okarun is like, hey, I'm just gonna wait outside for you for your shift to end, so that I can help you, so that I can walk you home because it's dangerous. I want to make sure you're okay getting home. And she's like, I don't need that. I can protect myself. It's fine. Don't worry about it. There are lights on my way home. It's okay. And he leaves, but he returns when her shift is over because he's a good dude. And, he likes her. She likes him. I love all this shit. I know how some could look at this episode as kind of boring, but for me, I love the romance. I love all the characters as much, if not more than the action. So I'm all here for it. And then when she gets home, at home, they were working on Gigi's control over his transformation. So they just drop a little bit of soy sauce on him, and he is able to control that. But it's a very little bit of soy sauce. It's at room temperature. He can't do anything with cold stuff. And when they arrive, the pink-haired girl, I need to remember what her name is, but she gets up and starts running towards them, trips over something, and spills all of her boba tea. Looks like boba tea, but is boba tea cold? I've never had boba tea. But she spills it all over Gigi. He transforms and is able to quickly react in a way that prevents people from throwing their hot water on him. And he comes after Momo. Because they were out in the cold, it's cold outside, she had drank a little hot water. She didn't swallow it. So she lures with her abilities Evil Eye close to her and then spits on him with her hot water. And that reverts him back to Gigi. And while he was doing all this, he tore her shirt open a little bit. I think had her choked and pinned against the wall while she was holding it back a bit with her ghost arms. And when Gigi goes to check on her, Okarun gets very defensive, pushes him away. He's like, no, look what you did. Don't come any closer. I don't care if it was Evil Eye form. You stay back right now. So now there's a bit of tension between Okarun and Gigi. Gigi is obviously very upset about the whole thing. He's not happy that this happened. That one other boy who's there wants to do the exorcism, even if Grandma doesn't. But obviously, Grandma's not open to that. But then the rest of the episode is about Okarun wanting to become stronger. First, he thinks he just wants to be able to punch harder, be better at punching, so that he is able to protect her. Because in that moment, he felt so weak and unable to do anything to protect the girl he Are we gonna say he loves her already? Are we gonna say they love each other or just like each other? Whatever. To protect the girl he likes. And he goes to see that one alien dude. He's like, "No, I'm not teaching you." And then grandma was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sick of how bad you are at using my powers. You're fucking slower than this evil that I do. Like he's stronger than you, he's faster than you, he's all these things, he's better than you. And you know what? I, in my true form, with my true power, I'm like fucking 4 times faster than this dude. You fucking suck." Now, let me ask you again. Do you want to be able to throw a harder punch? Do you want to be able to be better at punching or do you want to be stronger? Because guess what? If you're better at punching, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be any stronger with that. So do you actually want to be stronger or do you want to be better at punching? And so she is going to train him. The pink girl tags along because she's such a little she's so fucking obsessed with Okarun. And it's fun seeing her go from Okarun, I'm just a queet. I'm just a sweet little innocent girl. Don't don't think of any. I would never say any kind of bad word or anything. I don't even know what bad words are. But in her alternate form or even in her regular form, when she's talking to grandma, she's just like, "You fucking little, I'm gonna fucking stomp the shit out of you, you piece of shit. Fucking don't tell Okarun I'm gonna kill you." And when she transformed her thing and is spouting off all this crap too, just like I don't know where any of that stuff came from. That's not me. That's that fucking other. That's that other the transformed version of me. It's all right. But you find out that I think Evil Eye works off of 4 beats, while the most Okarun has been able to get out of his transformation is 2 beats, but he can go much faster. So they're going to work on that with Bach or Beethoven, whoever it was, and some other fucking spirits next episode. Solid episode. And then My Dress Up Darling, fantastic as always. Starts off with Marin realizing she put on a little bit of weight, and she realizes how she did this is through every time she goes over to Goro. Goro's house in the evening to eat, and he gives her leftovers for breakfast. She's like, "Oh my god, he made this for me. I can't. I have to eat this right when I get home because she's so lovey-dovey over him." And she's been eating that for breakfast, or not eating that. She's been eating that in the evening as an additional late night snack, and then having leftover bento leftovers for breakfast. And that has had her put on a little bit of weight, but enough for, when you're a model or, when you have cosplay and you have these very precise measured outfits, even though she isn't, she's put on a little weight. She's got a little bit of extra there. She is in no way fat. She is still in very, very, very good shape. But for the purposes of that, where every little bit counts, every little thing counts, you know, not good. Which is watching, I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh, I hate this, but it's also a reality." Uh, it's just, body as someone who's body dysmorphic, I'm just like, don't even ask me about body image or anything because I was thinking a few days ago when I was out shopping, I wonder if any just random stranger has ever looked at me and thought, "Oh, that's an attractive person." And then I thought, No, absolutely not." And I didn't bring up this thought to my friends because I'm like, "All right, you're just gonna say, yeah, you're a good looking person." I'm like, "Fucking fuck y'all. I don't trust it. I don't trust you. All right." But that is just me. Part of me and my dysmorphia is just I look at myself as ugly, and I can't I can't fathom or imagine anyone else thinking otherwise. It's very difficult for me. There have been certain instances, my last the closest thing I've had to a truly amazing relationship, I would say. I believed her. I believed her. That was a long time ago, though. But I just think about all that, and I'm like, "Oh, I wish this wasn't a thing because you look You still look great. It's okay. Put on a little extra weight. It's fine. And also, this is the first episode in a while where you've gotten some fan servicey stuff that is going to bother some people, of course. But again, to me, it's all contextual. I don't doesn't take away or do anything for me in the show. But a really strong episode. After all that is going on, she comes to that realization, and Goro's like, "Wait." When he's trying to figure out what could have you have a good diet. Why? How could you have put on weight? He's like, "Have you been eating the food I gave you for breakfast? So, have you been eating that after you get home? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing it?" And he's so judgmental. He's so judgmental. Not in a mean way. He's just like, "Can't. Why? How are you still hungry?" I mean, this is just like she's just like, "Oh my god, you poured your love into it. I just want to eat it because I want to eat you up." Oh. But after that, they go out. I'm trying to remember what is in between all that. But it ends with them going out. She just finally was able to get this camera she's wanted for so long, and they do a photo shoot. It was also very cute seeing where she was gushing about Goro and the plushie he won for her, and how much she loves him to her hairdresser, and others. It's just very cute because they're not. I mean, they're not an item currently, obviously, but seeing the way she would be if they were official and just being very. I'm saying Goro, it's Gojo. God damn it! I knew Goro wasn't right. I'm a fucking idiot. But seeing her gush about him and how great he is when she shows the picture of them. "Oh, which one's Gojo?" She's like, "Look, he's the hottest one right there." It's like, "Oh, he's so cute." Uh, I loved all that. But then with the camera, they go on a photo shoot. She's not dressed up as anything except for she got those stretchy socks that used to be popular, and maybe they're getting popular again. Those ones that kind of lump over each other, they're very long and stretch out, and they kind of lump over. Think of those like those 80s or 90s when they first were a thing. But that whole section where it's through Gojo's perspective, through the camera, uh, the viewfinder essentially, and every time it takes a click, it does a still frame while they're talking and going about. And you have some photo effects happening with the shutter speed and certain motions when she's moving around and he's taking a picture. Then you see the distortion. It's just a continuation of this season being ridiculous in terms of its quality in both animation, art, and its filmmaking techniques that it's putting into an anime, where it's more creative than a lot of it's just I cannot believe this show of all the shows is getting this kind of treatment. It is like what it's just one of those instances where I feel blessed to be able to experience this, and I don't think they'll be able to do this again with the next. I it's finished, but it's not available. On, I really want to read the manga so bad, but it's only on Square Enix's site or something, which I don't know. Do I need to subscribe to be able to access all of them? How it works? I want to read all of this right now. But yeah, it's just an incredibly impressive show from a technical, visual, and like it just. I love the story. I really like. I love the first season, but this season is just. It's not so much better. It's just we've had the addition of a lot of great characters, the vast improvement in art and animation. Not vast. I don't. I need to rewatch it to see how big of a jump it is, really. But then also the creativity with how they're handling and delivering it. It's so good. It's so good. I adore this show. In the end, it could end up being a top 5 for me. I fucking love it so much. But yeah, can't recommend my Joseph Darling enough. And that's where we're going to end it. So that is going to do it for this here episode of Animezingly Baka. Once again, I am Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to the Sausage Dump, where I talk about this, that, whatever comes to mind. Currently going through my top 100 games of all time, crafting that list. I just recently crafted the list with games off the top of my head, and then I'm going to continue going through the years to see if anything slipped through the cracks that I forgot about. But then other things as well. There's also a private Discord channel along with some fancy Discord roles, or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. But for now, adios, arrivederci.